Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Texas Stadium on June 4th, 1982, the Fritz von Erich Retirement Show. Tonight isn't just about Fritz's farewell. We've got an international special attraction on the card. Can you believe it, Joe? The NWA World Light Heavyweight title is being contested right here in Irving, Texas, between two legends of Mexican lucha libre, Rene Guajardo and El Solitario. This is world-class championship wrestling trying to go, well, world-class, as Fritz's promotion had just rebranded and was eyeing national expansion.
I gotta hand it to Fritz, Bill. When he throws a retirement party, he really throws everything in there. We've got luchadoras flying in from Mexico, a women's championship bout from Mexico, even a Japanese tag team match on the same card. It's like the wrestling version of a global potluck. Bring your own title belt. And Fritz basically said, hey, I'm retiring, so let's book the Lone Ranger in an old school rodeo for a title match and see what happens.
That Lone Ranger would be El Solitario, known for his trademark gold mask with a black Lone Ranger-style eye mask design, one of Mexico's most popular masked technicos. And the Rudo veteran is Rene Guajardo, a bona fide legend who's been terrorizing rings since the 1950s. Both men made their names south of the border, but they're here on WCCW turf for a one-fall clash. It's a unique chance for Texas fans to see a genuine Lucha Libre championship contest.
Unique is right. I mean, half these Dallas fans probably didn't know who these guys were, Bill. They came to see the Von Erichs, Harley Race, maybe Andre the Giant, and suddenly here come two masked dudes. Well, one masked, one mustached, shaking hands and doing lucha holds. I bet some folks in the bleachers were like, did we actually tune into a Televisa broadcast?
Perhaps, but true wrestling aficionados knew this was a big deal. The NWA World Light Heavyweight Championship has a storied history in Mexico, long overseen by the EMLL promotion. Seeing it defended in Texas was almost unheard of. There's some political wrestling intrigue here too. More on that later. First, let's introduce these competitors properly, because their backstory is what led to this clash of titans. Rene Guajardo is 49 years old here, a wily veteran if there ever was one. He came up through EMLL in the 60s, teaming with fellow Rudo Karloff Lagarde as Los Rebeldes, and even held the NWA World Middleweight title 6 times in his career. Outside the ring, Guajardo was a power broker. He, Ray Mendoza, and others famously split from EMLL in 1974 to form the Universal Wrestling Association, UWA. In fact, Guajardo was instrumental in that breakaway and became the first UWA World Middleweight Champion in 1975. So by 1982, he's not just a wrestler, he's practically Lucha Libre royalty and a promoter.
Oh, we've got a 49-year-old rebel royalty in one corner. He's like the Mexican wrestling version of a founding father. If George Washington also pile drove people and ran shows in Monterey on the side. I hear he even promoted his own Northern Division territory up in Monterey with a more hardcore brawling style. This man had a full plate, negotiating, promoting, and occasionally smacking folks with chairs. Talk about multitasking, Bill.
Indeed, a very accomplished man. And across the ring, El Solitario, age 35 at this time, is comparatively in his prime. Solitario's real name was Roberto Gonzalez, but in the ring, he's the Lone Ranger. He became one of the biggest names in Lucha Libre, period. He started in EMLL in the 1960s and got rocketed to superstardom in late 1968 when he pulled off back-to-back stunning upsets. First, he defeated the legendary Ray Mendoza in a mask versus hair match, unmasking Mendoza. Then, just weeks later, on Christmas night no less, Solitario faced Rene Guajardo himself in a wager match. Solitario's mask against Guajardo's hair, and Solitario won, shaving the veteran Rudo's head bald. It was a huge shock at the time, because Guajardo almost never lost hair matches. That 1-2 punch of beating Mendoza and Guajardo gave Solitario instant superstar credibility in Mexico. If El Santo was like the Hulk Hogan of Mexico, Solitario was often compared to Bret Hart for his skill and popularity. He was a technical master in the ring, but also had the charisma with that flashy gold look. He even formed a notorious trio called La Ola Blanca, the White Wave, alongside Dr. Wagner and Angel Blanco. They were villains at first, but when Wagner and Blanco turned on Solitario out of jealousy, it flipped Solitario to the Technico, hero side. That betrayal sparked legendary feuds between Solitario and his former partners, further cementing him as one of the era's top good guys. By the early 1980s, Solitario had aligned with the UWA as well. He was one of the first big stars to leave EMLL and join Francisco Flores and Ray Mendoza's new UWA promotion. In UWA, he continued winning championships. In fact, he held UWA world titles in multiple divisions. He won the UWA World Light Heavyweight belt in the late 70s, and heading into 1982, he had just become the UWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, UWA's inaugural champion in that weight class. So at this very moment in time, Solitario is carrying UWA gold and looking to capture or recapture the NWA Light Heavyweight crown. He's a busy man too. A few months after this Texas show, he even participated in El Santo's grand retirement match in August 1982, teaming with legends like Gory Guerrero and Huracan Ramirez. Solitario was everywhere, a true globe-trotting star.
Meanwhile, Guajardo was semi-retired by 82. I mean, he'd scaled back wrestling to focus on promoting in Monterrey. In fact, rumor has it this match in Texas Stadium was one of Guajardo's last major in-ring appearances before he hung up the boots later in 1982. So yeah, one guy, Solitario, at the peak of his championship collecting days, and another, Guajardo, who's nearing the finish line of a storied career. It's almost a symbolic passing of the torch, or passing of the hair clippers, considering their history.
Now, about that political intrigue I mentioned, this match didn't happen in a vacuum. Promotional alignments played a huge role in even making this contest possible. See, traditionally, the NWA World Light Heavyweight title was controlled by EMLL in Mexico City. Even after those wrestlers formed UWA, EMLL kept recognizing their own NWA Light Heavy champs. In fact, as of spring 1982, EMLL's version of the title was around the waist of a young star named Máscara Año 2000, who won it in April 1982. So one might ask, how on earth is Rene Guajardo coming into Texas Stadium billed as the NWA Light Heavyweight Champion?
Oh, I know this one, Bill. It's called Because Wrestling. That's why. Politics were funky. So from what I gather, UWA sort of had their own World Light Heavyweight title under their banner, and Solitario was champion of that. But WCCW promoted this match as for the NWA World Light Heavyweight title, probably because the NWA name meant more to the Dallas audience. It sounded better on a poster, right? NWA title match has more of that cachet. It's the old two organizations, one belt trick. You got the classic wrestling politics. Because on one side you have EMLL probably fuming that their title lineage is being usurped on a foreign soil. On the other, UWA and WCCW are like, nah, our guy's the champ and we'll have him defend or win this title in Texas. So I imagine a few phone calls and telegrams were exchanged in very rapid Spanish that week. Maybe even a, what the heck are you doing? But officially, since WCCW was an NWA member and Fritz could sanction NWA title matches, they went ahead with it.
Right. And keep in mind, WCCW at this point was eager to make a splash. Fritz von Erich wanted his promotion to stand out with world-class attractions. No pun intended. So featuring an NWA world title from another weight class added prestige. If that ruffled a few feathers at EMLL or elsewhere, so be it. World Class was staking its claim as a big player. The bell has sounded here at Texas Stadium, and this NWA World Light Heavyweight title match is officially underway. The champion, Rene Guajardo, in the black trunks, circles the ring with the challenger, El Solitario, who's sporting that gleaming gold mask.
It's the Lone Ranger versus, well, a guy who looks like he lost a fight with a barber, Bill. You could almost see Guajardo's forehead reflecting the stadium lights. I hope no airplanes mistake it for a landing strip.
Now, Joe, be respectful. Guajardo is a wily veteran, one of the greats of lucha libre, hair or no hair. And El Solitario is a legend in his own right. That distinctive mask of his pays homage to the Lone Ranger, fringe around the eyes and all. The atmosphere here is electric for this international showdown on a historic night.
Trick is right. You got 6,000 fans scattered across Texas Stadium. Oh, it's downright cozy in this giant place. You know, it's like a family picnic. If your family picnic had two masked luchadoras beating the stuffing out of each other.
And Solitario catches him with a beautiful arm drag. Guajardo is sent flying across the ring.
Textbook lucha libre right there. Guajardo took that arm drag and slid like he was on a slip and slide. All that's missing is a kiddie pool at the end.
They lock up once more. Guajardo quickly transitions to a waist lock from behind. A smooth amateur wrestling takedown by Guajardo. The champ is showing off some Greco-Roman technique now, trying to keep Solitario grounded.
The crafty old-timer can wrestle on the mat too. Guajardo's grappling him like an alligator in a death roll, except much more polite, of course.
What a sequence. And look at this. Another show of respect. Solitario extends his hand again, and Guajardo shakes it. A second handshake between these competitors, acknowledging the skill on display. The crowd appreciates this sportsmanship.
2 handshakes and we're barely a minute in. I mean, these guys are friendlier than my aunt at a church potluck. Because at this rate, they'll start baking each other casseroles between drop kicks.
Solitario kip-ups. What athleticism. And reverses the wrist lock into an arm wrench of his own.
Did you see that? A quick kick up and escape. Solitario's as agile as an Olympic gymnast. Nadia Comaneci, eat your heart out.
Tremendous chain wrestling from both men. Neither wrestler maintaining an advantage for long. This is evenly matched so far. It's a delight for the purists in the audience.
A real masterclass, Bill. They might start charging us a copay for this clinic if it keeps up.
After that flurry of holds and counters, both men are taking a moment to rethink their strategy. The pace has slowed down as Guajardo perhaps looks for a new opening. The veteran might try to dictate a slower tempo now.
Or he's trying to remember if he left the stove on back home. It's hard to tell, Bill. Oh, the natives are getting restless, all right. Last time I heard a rumble of discontent like this was when the concession stand ran out of Dr. Pepper. Come on, Rene, quit stalling and fight.
Guajardo steps forward, perhaps ready to lock up. Wait, he's extending his hand again? A third handshake, maybe?
I mean, this guy really believes in Southern hospitality. Ah, yes, the classic chin lock. This is the part of the match where our villain catches his breath and the audience collectively checks their watches.
The crowd is coming alive again, clapping in unison for El Solitario.
They paid for high-flying lucha action, not a chinlock siesta. Right now, this is about as thrilling as watching paint dry on a snail. Timber! Right out of the ring and onto that unforgiving Texas Stadium turf. That's the same AstroTurf the Dallas Cowboys play on. Not exactly a comfy landing. It's more like a cloud of concrete and disappointment.
The champion is down on the outside and you can feel the momentum shifting. El Solitario is fired up now. The crowd is on its feet. They know what might be coming.
Oh, I know what's coming too, Bill, and I'm already looking for something to duck behind.
Solitario lines up. Here he goes. Suicide dive through the ropes. Tope suicida. He flies through the ropes like a rocket and smashes into Guajardo on the outside.
Holy guacamole! El Solitario turned himself into a human torpedo. That tope suicida, which I believe is Spanish for this seemed like a good idea at the time, just wiped out Guajardo.
What a breathtaking move. Both men are down on the stadium turf after that high-risk dive. The crowd here in Irving is absolutely electrified, exploding with cheers for that incredible maneuver.
He flew through those ropes like Evel Knievel without the motorcycle. I haven't seen hang time like that since the last Dallas Cowboys Hail Mary attempt. El Solitario was pulling all the stops tonight, that's for sure.
The referee is counting from inside the ring now. Remember, Solitario can't win the title out there on the floor. He needs to get Guajardo back in the ring.
Smart thinking by the challenger. You can't pin someone on the AstroTurf as much as Guajardo might wish you could right about now. So trust me, a count out would be a pretty lame way to end a match this exciting.
El Solitario leaps. Flying head scissors takeover. He flips Guajardo through. Hurricane Rana into a pinning combination. He's got Guajardo's legs hooked tight.
What a move! We'd call that a Hurricane Rana back in Mexico and maybe Good Night Irene right here in Texas.
1, 2, 3, he got him. It's over. El Solitario wins it. We have a new NWA World Light Heavyweight Champion.
The Lone Ranger rides again. He's got a new piece of hardware for his saddle. I haven't seen an ending that acrobatic since I tried doing the splits at my cousin's wedding. And believe me, that didn't end well for anyone involved. Uh-oh, I don't think reality has quite hit Guajardo yet. He's got that look on his face like he just woke up in the wrong city. Let me break the news. You're in Irving, Texas, Rene, and you just lost your championship.
Welcome back, wrestling fans. What an event we had here at Texas Stadium for Fritz von Erich's retirement show. Among the many bouts, one in particular stands out, and not entirely for the right reasons. I'm talking about the NWA World Light Heavyweight Championship match where Mexico's own Rene Guajardo defended against El Solitario. Now, Joe, that was certainly an interesting contest.
Interesting, huh? Well, Bill, that's a polite way to say it was a bit of a head-scratcher. I mean, for a championship match, it had all the excitement of a chess tournament. Slow, strategic, and half the crowd trying to figure out the rules.
Well, Joe, let's set the stage properly. These aren't just random competitors. Rene Guajardo is a genuine lucha libre legend, a former multi-time world champion in Mexico, and El Solitario, under that golden mask, is considered one of the biggest stars in Mexican wrestling history. This match should have been a treat. Two icons meeting on a grand stage. In fact, it was billed as a special attraction for that very reason.
Right, two lucha legends locking up in Texas Stadium. I mean, what could go wrong? It's like a dream crossover episode. Only this one turned a bit surreal. We've got a nearly 50-year-old Guajardo trying to keep up with a younger, flashier Solitario. Think of it as classic rock versus new wave, and neither could agree on the tune.
From the opening bell, it was clear we were seeing a clash of styles. The match began with some crisp lucha libre grappling and chain wrestling. Guajardo and Solitario traded holds on the mat, demonstrating their technical prowess. In those early minutes, you could really see their pedigree. Solitario executed smooth arm drags and submissions, and Guajardo countered with Greco-Roman skill honed over decades. Honestly, it was fundamentally sound wrestling.
Absolutely, textbook stuff. In fact, I think they broke out the entire textbook on wrestling holds page by page. Because at one point I was expecting Solitario to put Guajardo in a Dewey Decimal hold because it felt like we were in a library with how quiet the crowd got.
The crowd did grow noticeably quiet as the match went on. After that respectful handshake and the initial exchange, it seemed like both men hit a lull. They started, stalling is the word that comes to mind. There were stretches where they just kind of circled or stayed on the mat without much happening, as if neither was sure what sequence to go for next. You could sense some confusion in the ring, and the audience picked up on it. A few minutes in, people were shifting in their seats, getting a bit restless. It's true that the pacing felt disjointed. Normally, a light heavyweight title match implies a faster pace, maybe high-flying moves throughout. But here we had long mid-match lulls. Part of that might be Guajardo's age showing. At 49 years old, he's not exactly a spring chicken, and you could tell the pace slowed to what he was comfortable with. He's a wily veteran, known for technical wrestling, not speed, so the match tempo was slower than what many fans expected for this weight class.
Right. Guajardo wrestles like the ring is a chessboard, very methodical. Meanwhile, Solitario is younger, mid-30s, and capable of some flash. It's like pairing a classic slow blues guitarist with a punk rock drummer. The rhythm's bound to be off. I mean, they just didn't seem to gel. At points, it felt like neither man was sure who should take the lead. I swear I saw Guajardo glance over as if thinking, should I be the bad guy now, or do we keep it friendly? The chemistry was definitely off-kilter.
The saving grace was that they did eventually deliver some excitement. After realizing the crowd needed a spark, El Solitario pulled out the biggest high-risk move of the match, a spectacular suicide dive through the ropes to the outside. That was out on the turf, and it was like a bolt of lightning in an otherwise slow storm. Solitario flew like a man determined to wake up the entire stadium, and it worked. The crowd popped for that dive, finally coming alive.
That dive was the moment. Solitario launched himself at Guajardo like he'd been shot out of a cannon. I'm pretty sure some fans spilled their drinks in shock like, whoa, where was this whole match? It was the kind of thrill we've been waiting for. I mean, if most of that bout felt like a B-movie plodding along, that dive was a surprise action scene that almost made sitting through the slow parts worth it. So in non-professional terms, it was a bit of a dud. Not Plan 9 from Outer Space bad, but definitely a letdown given the names involved. And I hate to say it, Bill, but when the most memorable thing about a match is a single dive and the handshake that started it, oh, that's telling. It was oil and water, Bill. Or maybe molasses and hot sauce. They just didn't mix well. Guajardo slowed things down to a crawl at times, probably thinking that's how you control the match. But Solitario wanted to spice it up, and by the time he poured on the hot sauce with that dive, well, everyone had already tasted too much molasses. The result? A lot of confused taste buds in the crowd.
The styles they brought were individually fine, but together they misfired. Guajardo was perhaps a step slow and maybe a bit unsure how to adapt his game to a foreign crowd. Solitario, for his part, did try to adapt. He amped up the tempo late, but it was too little, too late. As some observers later noted, the match at times looked like it might just go up a gear and be something good, but then it never quite did. The chemistry just wasn't there.
We should mention, Bill, that it's not because either man was lacking in ability or pedigree. Sometimes two great wrestlers just don't click on a given night. It happens. The execution was off, the story never came together, and the crowd smelt that. One wrestling reviewer summed it up saying the match was pretty boring, sloppy at times, and nothing memorable came out of it. Ouch! But can we blame the Texas fans for not being riveted? Not really. They were spoiled by the likes of the Von Erichs versus Freeburg's chaos. This methodical exhibition was from a different world.
And we'll